Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Rosemary Brown. I'm in Pike County at the Pike County Correctional Facility, and I am joined today by the Warden Craig Lowe and the Assistant Warden Bob McLaughlin, two very important people here at the Pike County Correctional Facility who are doing a wonderful job. So thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you for coming here. Thank you.
So as we start the program today, one of the reasons why I decided that I wanted to interview you and the facility so much is because of the great job that you're doing. And when people think about prisons, they think, okay, put people in jail, they're in jail, serve their time, and they're out. The mindset here is so different, and it's one to really help better society, better the inmates so that they learn from their mistakes and they come out in a better spot and contribute to a more productive society. So thank you for that mindset. I think most people will appreciate that and understand that it's a new way of helping to treat people.
It's definitely a new way. We've actually had to educate our community, where we went out in the community, we met Rotary clubs, the Chamber of Commerce, faith-based groups, anybody that would listen to what we had to say. Initially when we started out, people looked at us like we were a little funny because we're out there going out and advocating that we need help from the community. Because let's face it, these are men and women that have made mistakes and you know, they need to get back on their feet, but how do you want them back in your community? When we talk about recidivism rate, nationally, 80% of the time we fail at what we do. If you had a business and 80% of the time you failed, you definitely wouldn't be in business too long. So we looked at that and we said, you know what, there's a reason for us to try and make a difference. With an 80% failure rate, we need to do things different.
Yeah, and it's a terrible number. It really is a scary number because you're just going through the vicious cycle over and over and over again, so you're really not doing anything.
I think part of it is when you educate the community to understand that you're dealing with people. There's people that make honest mistakes, but you can't give up. You know, you have to try and get them back on their feet in the right way, get them back out in your community in a positive way, so that the community embraces them and assists them with getting back on their feet.
Right. Now, it's a little bit breezy out here today. It's always a beautiful day up here by the facility. But when you started, okay, and in the time frames of when you both started here at the facility, what did you walk into? I know that there was a lot of good work happening before that as well, but what did you walk into and what made you start, get stronger, build it, and create some things that maybe weren't being done before?
Well, I know when I became warden, we just looked at the fact that, again, an 80% recidivism rate was not acceptable. So we said we need to build off of that. And it was a change in the entire philosophy of how we operate this facility. Not that we were doing things wrong, but we were just doing status quo, so to speak, of what corrections was all about for an eternity. And we said we need to change that. So we had to get our staff to embrace that, our county commissioners, the prison board, everybody to support the direction we wanted to go in. And obviously with the results that we've had, everybody supports the mission, the volunteers, that we have over 100 volunteers that come in the facility. It's a win-win situation for everyone.
Yeah, and some of the programs that we're going to talk about are really interesting, and obviously with only less than 30 minutes to go through them, I think it's hard to see all the good things that you're doing, but we're going to talk about some of the details of those and how they can really work for the inmates. When you talk about the volunteers and that whole concept too, because you know, back in the day, I think you would hear you'd have 1 or 2 volunteers go into a jail, but it really was not very common. You know, who's going to go to the jail to volunteer? It wasn't your first place to go volunteer. So that has built over the years as well, correct?
Well, initially we did want to bolster our volunteer roster, so we developed a PowerPoint presentation that the warden and I initially were taking into the community at various groups, church groups, Rotary clubs, things of that nature. And that's where we initially found success. At this point, word of mouth usually carries the day with new volunteers. But we had to, in all regards, think outside the box in developing what's occurring here at the facility today.
Now with the volunteer programs that you have, you probably have some strength in some of them. You probably have some where you want to build a little bit stronger and get more volunteers in there. Certain situations, certain new dynamics in society happening. Society's always changing. There's always new dynamics throwing you a curveball that you have to adjust to and change to. What are you looking for more from the community as far as volunteers? Who could you really use? Who could really, if somebody's watching, to say, you know, I can help in that way. What exactly and where do you feel you can get stronger and get more people to come help you?
At this point, we need folks who have a consistent desire to help and want to be here for programs. We need addiction counseling programs, educational programs, in order to enable us to provide a more comprehensive menu for the offenders we house. We have spiritual programs. That community assists us a great deal. At this point, we're looking for more educational, more vocational addictions counseling type of programs, and we can provide curriculums if someone's interested. They just need to contact us here at the facility and we can work with them. But it's the type of person who, doesn't maybe see the program and say, maybe that's a good idea to try. We want folks that want to dive in, and we'll work with you every step of the way.
Is there if people are afraid with time commitments or that type of thing, is there a time commitment that is kind of like the base limit, a time that somebody can give? Like, you'd have to say at least you'd be able to give, 5 hours a week or 3 hours a week, and then you can grow to as much as you want. But is there sort of a base limit so people aren't scared to call and make the commitment? I
would say if you can provide us with an hour to 2 hours a week, maybe a few times a week, that'd be phenomenal. That's what we're looking for. That's
great. That's not bad at all. So you can have retired people as well as people who have off for the summers, even on the educational environment or whatever it may be. Is there anything else that you think that, as you built over the education with the community, that you like the community to know about what you do?
I think it's important that things like this, where you educate the community and let them understand. We open the doors here to this facility to let them come in and see what we do inside. So this program, as an example, you have to get the word out. If you want help, you have to ask for help. But be ready when you ask for help, because your community will respond.
Which is wonderful. And I know also, too, as a side note, that you do a great volunteer recognition dinner as well. And I was amazed the first time that I came that I saw so many volunteers. I actually didn't know there was that many volunteers that did come into the jail, so it was amazing.
Once a year, we take time out of our busy schedule to say, you know what, we have to thank them for their efforts. So we've had barbecues out here on the front lawn where myself and my 2 assistant wardens did all the cooking.
That's right.
That's a small little token, to say thank you for what they do. I mean, they're here day and night, all year long, holidays. They're here. They help out tremendously. If we had to look for compensation from the county to offset those costs, I don't think it would be even possible.
Well, I think it's wonderful, and it's wonderful that the communities come together to really make a difference and to really, when somebody comes back out, like I said, they really are in a better spot, hopefully, and they don't come back to see you again.
That's our goal.
So, although it's beautiful out here and we have a nice windy day, we're going to head inside to look just at the security measures so that the people in the community understand how secure the facility is and how safe that they are in Pike County.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for
coming
today.
Thank you.
Let's go head back in. Craig, we couldn't have had better timing, because as we were walking in, we've met up with Ed Schaffner, who is the Volunteer of the Year here for Pike County Correctional Facility. So you had great timing as we saw you as we were walking in, because we were outside talking about the volunteer program, how great it is here at the facility, and how many wonderful people dedicate their time to trying to help the inmates come out in a better place. And so when did you start to volunteer?
I started back in 2006 with Irene Doolittle. She was the director of programs here, and she got me started in here, and I'm going on 8 years.
Yeah, it's a long time. Yeah. And so how did you start? How many hours did you start with when you started to volunteer? And
it was just maybe 1 or 2 hours a week, and then now I'm down to about 3 hours a week here.
Great. And is there one specific program that you focus on, or do you do a little bit of everything?
Do a little bit of everything.
Do you have your favorite?
I do a 12-step program with the men. It's based on Christian principles. And then now I'm doing a program with the ladies called the Rough Path. It gets the inmates really thinking about their lives, how they can make changes. It gets them to a certain point where they can go ahead and say, look, this is me, I need to change. And that's just sitting back and watching the inmates change is the best thing. It brings a lot of value to being a volunteer.
How, when you first started to now, and like you said, that's the best part of it, is to be able to see somebody really change. I think that's always the fulfillment of your time in. What have you seen over the years to be some of the most difficult things that you deal with, and maybe how you've learned to do them better? as a volunteer?
Watching the inmates trying to deal with drug addictions, alcoholism, watching them try to come to grips with it and try to figure out the best way that they can value their lives and move forward. And I can't tell you how much the volunteers, the inmates have helped me, because it gives me a basis to deal with things and to look back at my life and see how I can make changes in my life to help them. So it's a give and take situation. It works out very well, having volunteers and with the inmates.
Well, it's wonderful, and we were just, talking about the drug addiction issues and how they've grown so much over the years, and they continue to be on the rise and being one of the largest struggles for the inmate population, as well as a lot of people in society. So thank you for all you do. Thank you for being Volunteer of the Year, and it's wonderful that we went up for you, and thank you for being able to talk a little bit to us as well.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So stay here for a second. We are going to talk just real quickly about when somebody comes in to the facility, the security measures, so that we know that when people are checked in, everything is run very smoothly and the security is of high standards. So Craig, tell us a little bit about what happens when you first walk in as a guest.
Well, it's important for us to create the security as soon as you walk through the door. We want a safe environment for the offenders, the staff, and the volunteers that come in and give of their time. So when we ask you for your driver's license, we hold that to make sure that you do come back outside the facility once you're done with your program. Also, we have a metal detector over here. They go through the metal detector. It's a standard metal detector where you walk through. That's to make sure that there's no weapons or metal or any of that type of item on you. As we come back through the metal detector, we ask you to secure all your items over here in these lockers so that you can pick that back up when you come back outside the facility. That's for volunteers as well as visitors that come in the facility to see inmates.
Right, because there's no cell phones allowed.
Correct.
There's nothing additional, so you can leave it here in the locker.
The cell phones,
as well.
we ask that you keep those in your vehicle. We don't allow them to come inside the facility at all.
Okay. Yeah, well, I know I even actually forgot my driver's license coming in today, so I had to run back out and get my driver's license. So
we're
it's
pretty
important.
strict with that.
Yeah, well, you should be, and that's a good thing.
It's another component that makes things the right way inside a correctional facility.
Absolutely.
Again, when we talked earlier, we said about setting the stage and creating the environment. That's what's important. Even for the offenders, when they walk through those doors initially and they see that this place is clean, the staff's professional, that's what sets the tone for the future for these individuals.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And I think you have inside Lieutenant Campos.
Lieutenant Campos is going to take us on a tour throughout the facility.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lieutenant Campos. Hi, Representative Rosemary Brown. Thank you very much for having us here today at the correctional facility.
My pleasure.
And behind us, there's a couple different logos here that I think are pretty interesting that you can tell us about. I've been here once before, and there's some history behind this, right?
Yes, there is. Actually, we have the badges that we've had so far. When it first started, the Pike County Sheriff's Department downtown, those were the badges that they were using. When the Pike County Jail was born here on this location, that is the original patch that we started to. And then when we geared our whole towards the program aspect, we changed the name from the Pike County Jail to the Pike County Correctional Facility.
Completely appropriate for the whole measure of the rehabilitation type of process.
Correct.
Very nice. Now I think you're going to take us on our first stop here through...
Sure, we're going to go down the programs corridor and we're going to head down to our multi-purpose room where we actually have a program in or out right now.
Great, thank you. Lieutenant Campos, we are outside in the hallway within the facility, and behind us is a program actually occurring right now with some of the female inmates. And these programs are what we really want to tell the viewers about, educate them on, and show what great things are happening inside the Pike County Correctional Facility. Can you tell me a little bit about what's happening behind us right now?
Right now in our multi-purpose room, we have the Rough Patch program is going on for our HOPE, which is our program designated for the female inmates inside this facility. Right now we have them all inside there. We have several different programs inside. For the females, we have over 100 different volunteers that are coming in, donating their time, and we have over 100 different programs available for our inmates.
I tell you, I think it's wonderful that these programs are happening, and so not only are the inmates in here serving their time, but they're learning and they're getting educated and trying to start over and start new. And you don't see this happening in a lot of different prisons, whether they're state or whether they're county. So there's a big array of programs that happen. So when we say that this is one piece of it, can you give me some more details about each type of program? I think this one behind us is talking a little bit about good decisions, taking control of your own actions, and a few things like that. Can you give me some more details?
Correct. Inside this facility, there's no such thing as free time. There's always a program or something for the betterment of all the detainees and inmates inside this facility. We have many different programs. We have an Arrow program for our county inmates. During the day, most of them will work inside the kitchen. They learn all different skills, so when they get out of this facility, they can maybe get a job in one of our local resorts, any delis, anything like that. They'll start off as a dishwasher and they'll make their way. By the time they leave the program, they could be a cook, and they learn all different things. They actually can get a certification upon completion, and they'll get a nice little documentation, anything that they could add to their resume when they leave this place.
That's great. How long does, depending on how long somebody's in here, but how long is the full program ideally to really where you feel that most inmates are getting the most out of the program? Is there a certain amount of weeks?
Yes, we have a 90-day program. There's also all different 6-week drug and alcohol programs. We also have programs for the federal inmates that come in here called a MORE program. All of our programs we actually have, if you graduate from the Arrow program and you qualify, you could actually go out in our core program. You'll actually go outside, you could help, you clean up the lawns, you cut, you learn all different skills. We also have a wastewater treatment plant on site. We also have inmates that after they graduate from that Arrow program could work there. Actually, when they leave there, they could also take a test and be a certified wastewater treatment plant operator.
That's great. And doing these programs, so there's a vast array of amount of information and education that they're getting and trying to learn, but the people that are doing the programs and actually administering all the different programs are mostly volunteers, right?
Yes,
and I think that's what's so unique about it as well.
Oh, it's a big facet, and we are thankful for the community for coming back, donating their time, and for all that they do.
Yeah. How many volunteers are there? And I think we'll probably touch on this several times throughout the program, because it's really amazing the amount of local involvement there is inside the prison.
We have over 100 different volunteers coming inside this facility.
That's tremendous.
Yes,
it's really great, and I think that's what makes it work so well. Now there are two different programs. There's a program for the female inmates, like you said, and there's also a different program for the male inmates.
Correct. The males have the Arrow program, which is they work in the kitchen during the day. When they're done working in the kitchen, they go back and they do programs. Their component is a little different because they actually have it on a housing unit themselves where they conduct their programs when they get back.
And these programs are mandatory for inmates or not mandatory?
No, they are not mandatory. Yep, the inmates are volunteering to go into the program.
And it is highly recommended, obviously, and we're hoping that it's beneficial for them so that when they do leave,
correct,
they are in a better spot.
And the warden will, send a letter approving them that they did, take programs and they weren't just hanging out, doing something productive with their lives while they were in here.
That's great. Now I know we have a few other places that we want to look in the prison. Where are you taking me next?
Sure, we'll go down to the Arrow program unit.
Okay, great, let's head over. Now, Lieutenant Campos, we are in one of the housing units here within the facility, and I have to tell you, I'm very impressed. I mean, I've been here a couple times, but every time I come, it is so clean, it is so well organized and well run. Which unit are we in right now?
This is Alpha unit, this is A unit, this is our Arrow program unit, and right now we have most of the inmates are actually working in the program inside the kitchen at this time. We generally have 12 inmates working in the kitchen. The rest of them are on the unit for their days off. They'll go to work an 8-hour shift. When they get back, they actually have 2 programs on their schedule today. So they will come back from work, they will change, and they will have a program. This unit is a little different from any of the other ones because we actually have the programs are based right onto this unit.
It's great, so they have a busy day.
Yes, it's very busy.
It's really, they're up, they're moving, they're going, and it's very scheduled.
Yep, constantly right after unlock. They know what they have to do every day. There's a schedule posted on the unit. They know they work 5 days out of the week. It's good for their living. It gets them structured where they know when they get out of here they do have to go to work, they have to come back, whether they're cooking, where they're providing a meal, plus they're getting the benefit of all these programs.
Right. We have a little background noise going on here, but that's because we're in the middle of the day with some of the activities happening here within the jail.
Correct. This unit has 12 cells. There's 3 individuals in a cell. You could tell by looking around, it's very clean. As you notice the difference in colors, it's not like the old battleship gray. We do take pride and always try to make the mood lighter here.
Yeah, it's great, and part of the program too is to really help them stay a structured day, keep their cells clean, keep their rooms clean, you know, keep everything nice, right? And that's part of the mindset.
Correct. By 9 o'clock in the morning, they're cleaning their cells, dusting, mopping, making their beds, just teaching them a responsibility, just like they'll have to do at home.
That's great. That's great. And so there's different levels of the housing units. So you have several, like we said, within the facility. So what other housing units are there?
Correct. This is a general population housing unit with classification levels of 1 and 2. Next door we have a classification unit. That's generally anyone new to the facility, and they will be wearing orange. We have a C unit across the hallway, which is a high level 3. Those could be violent offenders or individuals that have a bad institutional history. They'll be housed there. We also have a restricted housing unit. Any individuals that do something wrong inside the facility, they'll go into an impartial board, and if they are found guilty of breaking any rules, they will serve time in our restricted housing unit.
Now, and this might be a tough question for you to answer, and if they are level 3 or a higher, more violent type of crime, how does the rehabilitation at that point start within the facility? Is that just it's a little tougher, I'm assuming?
Yes, it is, but again, it's based on respect. They get treated a lot different here from any other facility that they're used to. So by us calling them by their last name and Mr., I think that changes a lot and sets the attitude. Whereas if there's some other facilities, they're just being yo, or hey, do this or that. They're actually being treated with respect here.
Right, which is wonderful, and that's part of the process of getting to the next level and helping them out. And part of the structure of the day and that respect level for each one of the inmates is what makes it a positive environment.
Yes, it does.
So that's good to know. And we are going to head over to another section now that also plays a very big role in part of the rehabilitation as well. It's one of the treatment,
Correct.
some of the
I'll
treatment
take you
sections.
to a treatment counselor's office.
All right, we'll head it over that direction. Thank you.
You got it.
Lieutenant Campos, we have a few other people joining us right now. Terry Mooney, who is one of the treatment counselors in the facility, and Bob McLaughlin, who is the assistant warden. So thank you very much for joining on to our tour here and giving us some more information. And the whole rehabilitative concept of the prison, treatment counselor obviously is a very big part of that.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about when you first see an inmate, the program, how it works, and how it moves to the final stage to really where you say, hopefully you're out and you're in a better spot than when you came in.
Okay, I oversee the ARROW program, which is 90 days for county male inmates. And when they come in, I explain to them how it works. I give them a packet. It includes a journal. They're required to journal every single day, write down their thoughts, their feelings, plus a resume, cover letter, and then another packet to complete before they're finished. They're required to participate in every single program that's offered. It is mandatory. They do homework. I do check their homework, and I do assist them if they need with writing, understanding what we're talking about. We offer drug counseling, substance abuse programs. We have volunteers that come in and talk to them. We have money management, employment skills, parenting. So we just cover everything that the inmates may need to be able to leave the facility and get on with their lives.
How is the initial reaction by most inmates when they first sit down with you and they get all this and they get this paperwork? Are they usually ready to go, or is it has to be tough in the beginning, and there has to be a lot of resistance?
I don't find any resistance. I think they know. I think they also hear when they come in that I run a tight ship and that they're just expected to do certain things to get that certificate. It's not impossible. I'm not unreasonable, but they are to meet the standard that the ARROW program has set for them. And I find that most of them are grateful to get in. Yes, because we don't always have beds for them, too. They have to wait sometimes, so they're very happy to start.
Well, it's good when a program and a facility has gotten that reputation that they almost are expecting it, that they know that they're going to get some of this great treatment.
Yes.
And that they're going to get some education and knowledge before they leave, and hopefully, like I said, be in a better spot. So, Bob, Terry mentioned the financial programs, and you and I were talking a little bit before we were on the air here about the details of each program, which parenting, financial literacy, resumes, which I think are wonderful. Tell me a little bit more about those. I find those very interesting, and I bet you people watching are going to say, that's great. What are they giving them? Who's giving them? And how does it work?
By design, we're trying to comprehensively prepare the offenders for reintegration. So, when we sit down at the table and try to determine what programs would be beneficial, money management, anger management, parenting skills, as well as the breadth of addictions counseling and all the drug and alcohol counseling. Anything we can think of, as well as some things we developed here with the help of our volunteers, we've found to be beneficial and helpful in ensuring our recidivism rate hovers around 30% at this juncture, which in relation to the 80% national average, we're very proud of. So again, we try to provide a menu of everything that we find would be beneficial.
Is there something that you're finding over the years now as this program gets stronger and stronger that you'd like to add, or that you are finding with an adjustment in society, things that are happening in society that might need to be added, or something that you're looking at or reviewing?
Well, at this point, we've determined that the drug and alcohol counseling is huge. And we're trying to expand the roster. If there are any volunteers interested in coming to the facility to help us in that regard, we'd be happy to have them. Our treatment counselors can review the volunteer process any day, 8 to 4, give us a call here at the facility. But that, we find, is really the thrust of the issue at this point, the drug and alcohol addiction, alcohol. It's just a terrible scourge in our communities, and we're really trying to dig into that issue right now.
Great, great. Well, listen, thank you very much for offering even a little bit more detail. I think we're about pretty much almost done with our tour. We're going to catch up with the Warden Lowe in just a minute, but thank you very much for all of your help today and bringing us through some of the details.
Thank you.
Thank you. Craig and Bob, thank you very much for all of your information today and for having us visit the Pike County Correctional Facility. We really appreciate it. I'm sure the viewers appreciate it, and hopefully you will hear from some volunteers as well after they've watched this. Is there a way for them to get in touch with you if they are interested in volunteering?
Sure, they can call the correctional facility directly at 570-775-5500, and one of our counselors will hand out an application for them.
Great. Thank you both very much, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Craig, very much.
Thank you.
I'm State Representative Rosemary Brown. Thank you for watching the Legislative Report. If you have any questions regarding this show or any other state-related matters, please feel free to contact my office.